If you're looking for a show to make immediate sense, one with a proper storyline or some kind of clear context, you may not enjoy Paranoia Agent. However, if you're the active viewer who enjoys mindfucks and appreciates Japanese art, which I hope you would since you're taking Felicia's class, then you're in for a treat. Paranoia Agent is a Japanese anime television series directed by the genius Satoshi Kon and produced exclusively by Studio Madhouse. For those unaware, Satoshi Kon is responsible for the critically acclaimed works Perfect Blue, Paprika, and Tokyo Godfathers. In addition, Madhouse is an animation studio that has produced some pretty incredible anime, most notably Trigun and Death Note. For those unfamiliar with any of these shows, don't worry, you can look them up after you're finished here.
Hello again.
Paranoia Agent's plot is not straightforward at all. This 13-episode mystery takes you on a psychedelic roller coaster that never really begins or ends. It's centered around a special group of characters that undergo a social phenomenon in Tokyo, Japan. You may think that the show is about a demented kid role-playing around the city at night, hitting random strangers with a golden baseball bat. You may think that the show is an allusion to some age-old tale about some hero saving the innocent from paranoia. You may even take the easy route, ignoring all the symbols and subtleties, and just call the characters crazy. But the truth is, Paranoia Agent is all of this, and more. So right at the starting gate, we find ourselves plunged into a world of chaos, governed by the mindless march of humankind with their high-tech toys and busy schedules. But wait, even before we're given our characters' profiles, we see an old man scrawling a massive equation on the ground, almost foreshadowing the end of days. Even the writing on the wall in front of him hints at the arrival of Little Slugger, making you think that this whole show is governed by some kind of prophecy. From this point on, we are left to attribute some significance to Little Slugger, who may be seen as the source for the connecting chain of events that follow. But don't be fooled, these connecting events aren't that easy to match up, even if you watch the show in reverse. Little Slugger is described only by his victims as a middle school boy who wanders around on golden rollerblades wielding a crooked golden bat. His victims all share something in common. They feel boxed in and cornered, seeking for a way out, or rather, an escape from their harsh realities. Satoshi Kon maneuvers through the show's plot by examining these victims, whose lives have been ruined by their own grand illusions. All of a sudden, Little Slugger comes along and snaps them back into a happy state of existence, even if they wake up in a hospital bed. Two detectives, Maniwa and Ikari, who hold strong resemblances to Agent Mulder and Scully from the X-Files, go on a wild goose chase to track down this mysterious assailant. Each bizarre incident that every character undergoes ends up connecting back to Little Slugger. These incidents also leave behind clues that suggest a different underlying reason for everything that is happening. Yet you don't really know what that is, it's just a feeling.
And this is the snapper.
You can't draw on this. So, Grandpa, what is it?
A little butterfly.
Through these incidents, we see the butterfly effect pan out, moving from one episode to the other in what seems to be a seamless pattern. The fact that this whole mess is sustained by the mass media showcases how one small rumor can expand into a national case of paranoia. The mystery is that we never really find out who or what Little Slugger is until the end of the show, though we are given hints in the form of hallucinations and interconnected character plotlines. All the while, we're introduced to Moromi, a cute stuffed dog that reminds us of Hello Kitty. What the hell is this thing? Well, you actually don't find that out until the end of the show, and even then, it's left up for some personal interpretation. I believe that Kon wanted to portray people in Japan in general. He wanted us to see how they could screw up their lives because of society's pressures and social alienation. As you watch the show, you realize that not many of the characters take responsibility for their actions. Instead, they cower and cry victim in order to save themselves from changing. This is where I think Moromi comes in. My theory is that the Japanese needed a way to comfort themselves after what happened in World War II. So they escaped to adorable and superficial anime toys and shows, losing track of reality and ignoring the psychological problems that they may have developed post-war. The inclusion of this strongly suggests that Khan himself was a socially paranoid artist. He wanted us to remember Japan's history of devastation and perhaps make sense of their cultural values through a new perspective. So let's talk about the bomb in the opening credits. The theme of the show is that Japanese people treat themselves as victims and try to console themselves with cute toys and anime. Now add in a reason and you get Japanese people treat themselves as victims and try to console themselves with cute toys and anime because of the bomb. On the one hand, we see many images of peace and sunlight, and yet the hint of darkness peers over it, an enormous mushroom cloud, the main connection you can make for a socially conscious culture. We then see our main characters laughing, something that they rarely do in the show. Why are they laughing? They're clearly just demented, madly cheerful in the face of all sorts of chaos and brokenness, never worrying about tsunamis, or better yet, another nuclear attack. It's the only opening sequence that Paranoia Agent could possibly have, for the show itself dedicates to exploring the ways that fragile human beings insulate themselves from the world, finding ways to make everything bad go away by, in essence, ignoring it. Khan effectively satirizes everything from suicide to animation production, while managing to somehow tie many of his ideas with the not-so-obvious references to Japan's society and culture post-World War II. This argument leads us back to Little Slugger and Moromi, who become the two constants in every episode. Little Slugger attacks whenever a character enters an emotional crisis, and as a result, their problems go away. Moromi appears whenever a character is in a state of solitude and contentment, yet she's always creeping up, giving you this unnerving feeling that she shouldn't be there. In Khan's imagination, the world is broken because his characters are broken, and the only way to fix this is through a psychological trip of chaos. In essence, Paranoia Agent tells us that what you believe is what you will experience. And if it seems odd that one girl's self-deluding invention of a bat-wielding thug could take over an entire country as we see over the course of Paranoia Agent, it should never be forgotten that Khan has already done the same thing with the cute Moromi, and likewise, Japan with her cultural values. It turns out that not only are Little Slugger and Moromi the manifestations of the desire to have all your problems go away, but they are also the driving force of the plot. In the end, you're left questioning if there was some sort of deterministic chaos playing a role throughout the entire series, especially since you're both introduced and left hanging with such a weird doomsday scenario of an old man writing down equations. Khan definitely portrays an overall vision of a world on the brink of collapse. From the second we're thrust into the abstract bizarreness of the series, Khan seamlessly depicts the trappings of the concrete modern world in this intertwined psychological drama full of mystery and pop culture. Even if we learn to rise above the struggles of everyday life, most of us will always want the easy way out. Not even a bomb will do more than briefly interrupt the grand pattern of chaos.